Hello and welcome coders to the Sky Coding. So from today onwards, we are going to start with the new topic of data loading into the Snowflake. Okay, we will load the data from internal stages as well as from the external stages as well. We will use the Amazon S3 bucket and we will use Microsoft Azure and GCP also. Okay, we will discuss all the topics of data loading into the Snowflake. Okay, and earlier we have done some of the prerequisites of data loading as we have discussed about file format and how to create a file format in Snowflake, and we have also discussed that how can you install the snowsql in your system and how to configure the snowsql command line interface with the Snowflake. Okay, and if you haven't downloaded the snowsql driver or you haven't done the configuration with the Snowflake, then you can watch my previous videos as the link is given in the description box. You can visit there and you can watch those videos from there of file format and of snowsql configuration with the Snowflake classic UI or the snowsite interface. Okay, so these are the things which I have done earlier. Okay, so in this video we will do the data loading. Okay, we will cover the data loading part. Okay, so let's get started the video without wasting any time. Okay, so the agenda of the today's session will be that what is a stage. First of all, we will discuss what is a stage, and after that we will see some of the stage types. There are basically two types of stages available to us in the Snowflake. First one is the internal stage and the second one is the external stage. Okay, we will discuss these two stages, and apart from this we will discuss that how can we load the data from stages to the tables. And first of all, we will discuss about these stages, how to create a stage, and after that we will discuss that how can we upload the data to the stages from a local machine or from the any cloud server such as S3, Microsoft Azure or GCP. And after that we will discuss that how can we load the data from the internal or external stages to the stable our specific tables. Okay, so we will discuss all those things in this session. Okay, so let's get started the video. Okay, so this is basically the agenda for the today's session. Okay, so let's move ahead. So first of all, the question arises that what is a stage. Okay, so first of all, let me understand you that what is a stage. So it is written a definition. A stage in Snowflake is a space. Okay, so let me first give you some point of stage, then we will read these points, then you will better understand. So, okay, so stage, it is basically a space which is provided by the Snowflake only, where we can put our data files, where we can upload the data files, and after uploading to the stage we will load those data files into our tables. We will load that data from our stage to the tables. Okay, where specific tables. Okay, so basically this is a stage. You can say it is basically a type of space, a virtual space, which is a storage space. You can say it is a virtual type of storage space which is provided by the Snowflake, where a Snowflake user can upload their files, and from the stages they can upload, they can load the data, or they can do unloading. They can load the data to the Snowflake tables or their specific tables. So okay, so stage is basically a type of virtual space, storage space, which is provided by the Snowflake only. Okay, that's it about the stage. Okay, so let me quickly read these points. Okay, so first of all, first point is written, a stage in Snowflake is a space where you can upload the files so that you can use the copy command to load or unload the tables. Okay, as I have told you, the stage in Snowflake, it is a space where you can upload your data files so that you can use the copy command to load and unload the tables. Okay, first of all, we will upload the files to the stages, internal stages as well as external stages, and after that we will use the copy command to load the data from the stages to the specific tables, or we can do the unloading as well. Okay, we will discuss those things. Unloading we will discuss in the upcoming videos. Okay, and the second point is written that it is an area provided by Snowflake to load the data files before moving them to specific tables. Okay, suppose that there is a customer table, okay, and I want to load the customer data from any type of CSV, PSV, or JSON file, okay, where there is a 1 million record of customer, okay. Then for loading, we will first load that .csv file into the stage, internal stage or the external stage, and after that loading to the stages, we will use the copy command to load the data to their specific tables, okay. So this is only written here, it is an area provided by Snowflake where we can upload the data files, okay. So this is all about this second point, and after that it is written, after data loading to stage, load data to specific tables, okay. So basically the loading steps is comprises of basically the loading is comprises of basically three steps. First one is, first of all, suppose that there is a customer table, okay, and I want to load the data to the customer table, okay. So we cannot directly load the data to the customer table, okay. First of all, what we have to do, we have to load the data to the stage, and after loading the data, customer data to the stage, we will load that customer data to the specific tables, whatever table we want to load the data, okay. So first of all, we have to load the data to the stage, and after loading to the stage, we will load the same data from the stage to specific tables, okay. So this is all about the stage. It is a virtual storage space which is provided by Snowflake to all the users of Snowflake, okay. So that's it about the stage, okay. So I hope it is now clear that what is a stage, okay. So now let me move to the next slide. Okay, so before moving to the stage, as I have already discussed about the prerequisite of the stages, as in the previous video we have discussed all about the file format. But if you haven't seen that video of creating a file format in Snowflake, what is file format and all this, if you want to see that video, you can watch, you can go to the description box and you can visit to that video. But let me just summarize something about the file format in data loading, okay. So Snowflake file format is named as a database object. Basically it is a database object only that can be used to simplify the process of accessing the staged data and streamlines loading data and unloading data out of tables, okay. So basically file format is used just for accessing the staged data to the Snowflake tables, okay. So that's all about the file format. If you want to see the this video is, if you want the brief description of the file format, then you can visit to the description and you can watch that video, okay. And there are basically 4 or 5 types of file format which we can create in our Snowflake. First one is types CSV, JSON, Avro, ORC, Parquet, XML. Basically we will deal with the CSV and that JSON and PSV, TSV files, okay. These are some of the file formats which we can create in the Snowflake, okay. So this is all about the summary about the file format. It is basically used for accessing the data from the stage to the Snowflake tables, okay. So that's all about file format, okay. So let's move ahead. Okay, so this is the main point that as we have discussed about the stages, as I have told you that what is a stage and all about. And now let's see the types of stages, okay. So basically we have 2 types of stages. We have basically 2 types of stages. First one is internal stage and the second one is external stage, okay. And in the secondary, internal stage is also divided into 3 types: user stage, table stage and the named stage, okay. And here on the right side, external stage is also divided into 3 types, okay. First one is AWS S3, Microsoft Azure and the GCP. Here is a blob, here is a blocks, here Google Cloud Bucket, okay. So we have 2 types of stages: internal stages and the external stages. And internal stages is also divided into 3 stages. First of all, user stage, table stage and the named stage, okay. Let me just give some point of user stage. User stage, it is a predefined stage. You don't have to create this stage, user stage. It is by default, whenever you will create your Snowflake account, whenever a user will create their Snowflake account, then user stage will be automatically provided to specific users. You don't have to create this user stage, okay. And the same goes to table stage also. Whenever you will create any table, then this table stage will be automatically created with that table only, with that table metadata only. Whenever you will create any table, the table stage will automatically be created of that table, okay. Suppose that whenever you will create a customer table, then there is a customer stage will also be created automatically, okay. You don't have to create this table stage. And this is about the named stage. If you want to create any stage of your name, then you can can create any stage. Suppose that I want to create a stage about sky coding, then you can give as a create or replace stage, and you can give sky coding. Okay, this is about named stage. You can give any name to this stage. Okay, so this is all about this internal stages. Okay, and let's talk about the external stages. For external stages, we need some cloud services as well. Okay, so this is about AWS S3 bucket, this is Azure, and this is GCP. Okay, we will discuss those things of external stages as well in the upcoming videos. Okay, so this is all about the stages. We have basically two types of stages, and we have these subcategory of this internal stages, and this is of external stages. Okay, so let's move ahead. Okay, so as I have told you, there are three types of internal stages: user stage, table stage, and the named internal stage. Okay, I have discussed with you this thing, that what is internal stage. Okay, internal stage, let's talk about the internal stage. Okay, so internal stage is nothing. It is a internal means it is all about, it is saying all about the local machine, local directory. Internal stage means Snowflake is providing, means we will create the internal stage. We will create an internal stage for loading the data from the local machine. Suppose that I am using the Windows machine. Okay, so suppose that I want to load any file from our local machine, then for that we have to create an internal stage. Basically, we create an internal stage for loading the data from our local machine, loading the data or unloading the data from the local machine. Okay, and suppose that I want to load the data from any cloud services. Okay, suppose that I want to load the data from the AWS S3 or Microsoft Azure, then for that we will create an external stage. Okay, so this is basically the difference between the internal stage and as well as the external stage. Okay, for internal stage, suppose we will load the data from the local machine, and for the external stage we will use the cloud services for loading and unloading data files into the Snowflake or from that AWS S3 as well. Okay, so this is the difference between these two, internal and external stages. Okay, and these are some of the internal stages which are available to us by the Snowflake. Okay, so now let's move ahead. Okay, so let's see first of all the user stage. Okay, so basically user stage, as I have told you, user stage is automatically created when a Snowflake, any user will create a Snowflake account. You user means you don't have to create any external command. You don't have to give any external command for creating a user stage. It's by default automatically is created whenever user will create a Snowflake account. Okay, so for user stage, you have for stages. Okay, let me tell you the symbols. Okay, for user stage, suppose that you want to create a user stage. Okay, for user stage or for any stage, you have to give this symbol. Okay, and if you want to use the user stage, then you have to give this sign, and if you want to use the table stage, then you have to give % sign, and if you want to use the named stage, then you have to just simply give this sign. Okay, so that's all about these symbols. Okay, we will discuss in the further slides. Okay, so first of all, let's see about the user stage. Okay, so it is written here, user stage is allocated to each user for storing files. Okay, so it is saying all about this, that user stage is allocated for every user by default for storing some of the data files. Okay, it is by default automatically created for every user. Okay, and the second is written to store files that are staged and managed by a single user but can be loaded into multiple tables. Okay, so it is saying to store files that are staged, we will store the files into the stage and which is managed by a single user only. Okay, and suppose that in Snowflake we have lots of roles and access controls such as organic admin, security admin, sysadmin, account admin. Okay, so for one user, this user stage will be available. Okay, and suppose that there is a1 user and he has uploaded some file into its user stage. Okay, and there is one user at the same time, b1 user. Okay, so b1 user have some file, so a1 user user stage of file cannot be seen by the b1 user, and b1 user stage files cannot be seen by the a1 user. Okay, so these if they are the So if these two are some different users, then these two files are separately managed by the different user. Okay, these two files cannot be shared by different users. Okay, so this is all about this. Okay, user stages cannot be altered or dropped. Okay, we cannot alter the user stage, we cannot do any changes to the user stage, and or we cannot drop the user stage. Okay, because this is automatically created by the Snowflake when Snowflake user will do the sign in or sign up. Okay, and the last point is written, this option is not appropriate if multiple users require access to the files. Okay, as I have told you that as I have told you this thing that whenever as I have given you the example of that A1 and B1 user, so these two are different users and they cannot access the we cannot access the file of different user stage. Okay, so if there is a one user, he cannot access the files of the user stage of another user. So this is basically the drawback of this stage. Okay, suppose that I have some file in different user and I am a different user and I want to access that file of the user stage of different user, so I cannot access this. Okay, so this is basically the drawback of user stage. Okay, so this is all about the user stage and this is basically the symbol of user stage. Okay, so we will discuss the theory part only here, and we will do the practical after completing this theory. Then you will better understand that what are the things, what is user stage, table stage, named stage, external stage, and how we create and all this. Okay, and how we load the data. Okay, so this is all about the user stage. Okay, so let's move to the table stage. Okay, so this is a table stage. As I have told you, whenever we create any table, then table stage will automatically be created by the Snowflake. Okay, we don't have to create the table stage manually by user. Okay, by code. Okay, so this is about the table stage. For table stage, I have told you that we use the @ and percentage sign for accessing and for creating the table stage. Okay, suppose that I want to access this table stage, so for that we have to use this @ symbol. Okay, so it is telling a definition that a table stage is available for each table created in a Snowflake. Okay, I told you that whenever we create a table, then this table stage will automatically be created by the Snowflake for every table. Okay, and this is about the second point, table stages have the same name as the table. Okay, as I have given you the example of customer stage. Okay, so suppose that I have created any table of with name as customer, then by default that stage name will also be the customer stage only. Okay, it is telling about that thing. Suppose I have given you the example as well that the name of the stage and the table will be same. Okay, example, a table named my table has referred to as my table. Okay, this suppose that there is a one table with my table name, then we have suppose that I want to refer to this stage, then we will use this name only, @ my table name. Okay, you will better understand when we do the practical. Okay, so don't be confused, we will discuss all those things in the practical video. Okay, okay, so to third point is to store files that are staged and managed by one or more users but only loaded into a single table. So, okay, this table stage can be used by the multiple users, one or more users, but only loaded into a single table. Okay, because it is a table stage and for every table we have a different stage, so we use this table stage for loading into a single table. We can't load from this table stage to multiple tables, as that was possible in the user stage, but here in the table stage it is not possible. And in the user stage we cannot use the user stage data into the different users, but here we can use the this table stage data files by the different users. Okay, so this is basically the drawback here, that table stage can only be loaded into a single table. Okay, and this is about table stages cannot be altered. This is the same in the table stage as well and in the user stage as well. Okay, table stages and user stages cannot be altered or dropped. Okay, we cannot drop these stages. Okay, and note that the table stage is not a separate database object, rather it is an implicit stage tied to the table itself. Okay, as user stage is also a database object, but here in the table stage, table is not a separate database object. As I have told you, the table stage is automatically created when we create a table, so it is not any separate database object. It is this table stage will be tied with that table object only. Okay, suppose that we will create, suppose that I want to create a table of customer table. Okay, then customer table and their stage of customer stage will automatically be tied with the same. Okay, they are not a separate object. Okay, so this is all about the last point. Okay, so that's it all about the table stage. If we want to access the table stage, then we will use this at the rate and percentage sign. Okay, so this is about the table stage. Okay, now let's see about the named stage as well. Okay, okay, so named stage, named internal stage. For named internal stage, we use simply at the rate symbol if you want to access the named stage. Okay, so we will use simply at the rate symbol. As I have told you, named internal stage means we are creating a stage of our own name. Whatever name we want, we will create a named internal storage of that name. Okay. Okay, so named internal stage is a database object created in schema. Okay, so this is a database object which we create in schema. Okay, as a table stage is not any a database object. It is created. It is a database object created in a schema. Okay, so we create named internal stage in the schema. Okay, and it is used to store data files that are staged and managed by one or more users and loaded into one or more tables. Okay, so this is basically a advantage of this named internal stage. We use a named, suppose that I have uploaded any file into the named internal stage. Okay, and that named internal stage data files can be used by more users. Any user can access that named internal stage, but maybe there is some difference. That's a different thing. We have various roles and all this. We will learn those things in the data sharing and that access control and all this. But named internal stage data files can be managed and staged by one or more users. Okay, as this is not available in the user stage. Okay, and loaded into one or more tables, and we can load the same stage data files into one or more tables. Okay, let me give you an example. Suppose that there is a customer table. Okay, there is a three customer table. Okay, and I have created a named internal stage by the customer stage only. Okay, so suppose that I have uploaded any file to a customer stage by using the put command, then we can load that customer stage data files into any of the table. There are three tables, suppose there are four tables, then we can load the same stage data files to the four tables as well. There is no restriction that we can load this stage data files to only one table, as this restriction is in that table stage. But here we can load same data stage data files into multiple tables. Okay, into multiple tables. Okay, and for creating this named internal stage, we use create stages using create stage command similar to external stage. Okay, this is basically the syntax: create or replace stage, and after that we will give database name dot schema name dot stage name. Okay, so this is basically the syntax of named internal stage. Okay, we use this at the rate symbol for creating a named internal stage. Okay, so that's it about the named stage. Okay, we have discussed three types of stages: user stage, table stage, and the named stage. User and table stage are by default created by the Snowflake, but named internal stage is created by a user. If you can create this named internal stage, whatever name you want, you can create it by manually. Okay, so this is all about the internal stages. Okay, so now let's see that how can we load the data. How can we load the data into stages, into the internal stage. Okay, we are discussing only about the internal stages. Okay, we will discuss about the external stages in some other videos. We will give some overview of the external stages. Okay, because for the external stages we have to create that AWS S3 account as well. Now, so for external stages we will discuss all those things in some other videos. How can you configure the external stage, AWS S3 storage integration, or all this with the Snowflake. Okay, we will discuss those things. Okay, so we have discussed all about the internal stages, three stages. Now it's time to load the data, load the local machine file, data file to the internal stage. Okay, we are creating the internal stage only for loading the data and unloading the data from the local machine, that is Windows, Linux, Mac OS, whatever we are using, from the local machine, not from any cloud. For external stages we use for cloud, but internal stages we use from local machine. Okay, So now we have created that stages, and we have some of the predefined stages as well. Now it's time to load the data into the stage. Okay, so for loading the data into the stage from the local machine, basically we use the put command. Okay, put command for loading the data into the stage, and we use the copy command for loading the data from the stage to the specific tables. Okay, so if you are a Linux or Mac OS user, then you have to use this put file, and this is a syntax. You have to use this three forward slashes, and you after that you have to give the path that where is your file in the local machine, and after that you have to give the stage name. Okay, suppose that you want to use this Linux or in the Mac user, so you have to use this put file, and after that you have to put these three forward slashes. After that you have to give your location, that where is your data file which you want to load is present. Okay, and after that you have to give that where you want to load. Okay, so we want to load this data.csv file in this @stage. Okay, so this is @ and this is a symbol of user stage. Okay, so we are just uploading this data.csv file into the user stage. This is a symbol of user stage. Okay, you have to just recognize this by seeing the symbol only. Okay, and this is about the second one, that is a put file, and there is a three forward slashes, and after that this data csv, and this is you can see this @ is for table stage. Okay, so we are just uploading this data.csv into the @ my table. This is a table stage. We are uploading this data.csv into the table stage, and this is about the named stage. For named stage we don't use any of the symbol, we use just @. Okay, so you have to just recognize this symbol. This we use for user stage, and this we use for table stage @%, and this we use for named stage. Okay, so this is all about that, how to load the data, how to upload the data files from local machine to a stage. Okay, and if you are a Windows user, then you can use this. There is only difference of these here in Windows we use double forward slashes, and here in Linux or Mac OS we use three forward slashes, and rest all the things are same. This is we are uploading the data.csv to the user stage. This is we are uploading data.csv into the table stage, and this is we are uploading the data.csv into the named stage, that is stage name is my stage. Okay, you have to just recognize these symbols. This is for user, and this is for table, and this is for named stage. Okay, and suppose that you want to list the file, you want to see the file after uploading, that if my file is uploaded to that stage or not. Okay, suppose that you have uploaded any file to the user stage. Okay, and you want to see, you want to verify that if, let me see that if my data.csv file is uploaded to the stage table or not. So, okay, so for that you will have to use this list @ and this symbol. I don't know what we call this @ and this design type of symbol. I don't know that what we have to call this. You can understand that what we have to call this is present down the ESC key. Okay, before above the tab key. Okay, I don't know the name. I am not able to understand the name of this, so that's why I can't tell you the name. You can understand this thing. Okay, this is suppose that I want to list the user stage files, then you have to use this command. And I suppose that you have uploaded this data.csv into the table stage. For accessing the table stage, you have to give just list @ my table. Okay, and for named stage, suppose that there is this data.csv in the named stage, so you have to just give list @ my stage table. Okay, my stage name. Okay, so this is all about just uploading the files to the stage and listing the files into the stage. Okay, we will discuss all these things in practical, then you will better understand all these things. Okay, this is just a theory we are covering, that what are the things, and because theory is also important, maybe someone will ask that how can you upload the data files, what are these user stage, named stage, table stage, and all this. So for that we are just creating these things. Okay, these things we are covering. Okay, so let's move ahead. Okay guys, so now let's discuss all these stages, internal stages, with a simple diagram which is provided by the Snowflake only. Okay, so if we say this is a diagram, okay, so this is basically the diagram of data unloading. This is not for the data loading, this is the diagram for data unloading from the tables into the stages, and from the stages to the local machine. Okay, but the data loading and unloading, okay, this unloading is just a reverse process of the loading. Okay, for data loading we have to just put the files from the local machine to the stage, and from the stage we have to just load the data into the tables. Okay, and in the unloading we have to just load the data from the table to the stage, and from stage we have to load the data into our local file system. Okay, so this is a local file system. Okay, so this is a diagram for data unloading. Okay, so first of all let's see. So this is basically a database storage. Okay, and this is a warehouse. Okay, if you want to do the data loading, unloading, creating stage, external stage, internal stage, whatever we want to do, first of all we have to execute, means our virtual warehouse must be in the running condition. Okay, because our warehouse is in a suspended, then we will not be able to do this data loading and unloading. Okay, so first of all let's understand this figure. Okay, so suppose that this is a database. Okay, and this is a table which is this is a table object which is available in the database only. Okay, so there is a this is a diagram of internal stage only. Okay, and this is a local file system where we have these data files, .csv, .psv, or whatever the data file is. So this is a local system, and we have these three data files available in our local system. Okay, so now first of all let's discuss from this side, internal stage. Okay, so suppose that this is a internal named stage. Okay, suppose that I want to load the data into this Snowflake table. This is a table now, and suppose that I want to load the data. Okay, so for loading, first of all we have to load this data file into this internal stage. This is an internal stage. We have to load the data from this local file system into this internal stage, and after loading to the internal stage we will load this data by using the copy command into this table, and in the same way from here as well. Okay, this is about the diagram for table stage. Okay, suppose that this is file and I want this file into my table. Okay, so first of all we have to upload this file into the table stage, and after that we will upload this table stage data by using the copy command into the table. Okay, this is how we load the data from local file system into the table stage. And if you want to load the data into the user stage, so for a user stage, suppose that I want to load this data file from local system into this user stage. So for that we have to load this data into the user stage, and after that I will load this data into the table, whatever table we want data, then we will load this data into our specific table by using the copy command. Okay, so basically this is a diagram for unloading. Okay, unloading is just a reverse process of loading. Okay, so and this is all about the loading. For loading we have to just first of all upload the data file from local system to the stage, whether it is a user stage, table stage, or whatever stages, and after from the stages we will load the data into the database tables. Okay, this is all about the loading. Okay, now let's understand some of the concepts of unloading as well. Okay, suppose that this is a table and I want to unload this data. I want this data in our local file system. Okay, so then how can we do that? Okay, so this is a table. We will use first the copy into command to load this table data into this internal stage, and from the internal stage we will use this get command to get the data file into our local system. Okay, and simply for this table stage also, and simply this for user stage as well. Okay, so unloading is just our reverse process of loading the data. Okay, so basically we use three commands: put command to upload the data into the internal stage, and copy command for just loading the internal stage data files to the table, and we use get command to download the internal stage data to the local system. For unloading we use get command. Okay, so that's all about this internal stage loading and unloading. I hope it is now clear as I have discussed by this figure. Okay, so I hope it's now clear. Okay, so now let's move ahead. Okay, so this is how that copying data from the internal stage. Okay, and now we have done the uploading data files to the stages. Okay, and now it's time to load that staged data files into the local tables, means the tables which are available into our users, Snowflake users. Okay, now we have loaded the data files from the local machine to the stage, and now we will load the data from stages to the tables. Okay, so for the user stage, suppose that there is one data file in the user stage. So we will use this copy into command, and we will give this table name that I want. Suppose that there is a one data file which is in the user state, and I want that data file into that data into my table. So we will use this copy into, and here we will give the table name in which table I want the data of this user stage, and after that from, and after that we will give here that from which stage I want. So I want from this user stage, so that's why I have given this symbol. Okay, and this is about the file format. So if it is a CSV file, though that's why we are giving his here type CSV field delimiter, and these things skip header 1, we are skipping the header because that's a column name. Okay, so this is basically the syntax of user stage, how we will going to load the data from the internal user stage into our table. Okay, we will discuss, you will better understand these things when we will do practical. So it's very important to watch the practical video. Okay, so we have the description link in the description box. You have to go there and you have to watch this practical video for a better understanding of the user stage. Okay, so this is how we use into user stage to load the data by using the copy command into the table. Okay, and in the same way for table stage as well, syntax is same, copy into table name from, and here we give this @ symbol for loading the data from the table stage. Okay, this is a same, and here I am giving file format is equals to format name. Okay, we can create one separate file format as well, or you can just give the file format properties here as well, or you can create file format upper side or anywhere, and you can give the file format name here as well. Okay, so this is how we load the data. We will discuss those things in practical, then you will better understand those things. Okay, so let's move ahead. Okay, so this is how we can load the data from the internal stages. So the syntax is same, basic difference is only for the symbol. Here we are using simply @. Okay, in the table we are using @%. So from named stage we use this @ symbol. Okay, so note that the file format does not need to be specified because is included in the stage definition. Okay, file format is not in basically here for loading the data from the named stage, we don't have to specify the file format, as we are specifying here in the table stage and user stage that this is file format. Okay, so we are not doing these things because this is file format is already embedded. Whenever we will create a stage, then we will already give the file format properties there. So that's why we are not giving here a file format properties in the copy command here whenever working with the named stage. Okay, so that's how we can load the data from the stages to the specific tables. Okay, so that's about these things loading. Okay, we will discuss all those things in the practical, then you will better understand. I am telling you again and again. Okay, so let's move ahead. Okay, so that's all about the data loading from the internal stages to the Snowflake tables. Okay, let's summarize fast that what we have discussed so far. Okay, so first of all, we have discussed what is a stage, and after that we have seen there are two types of stages, internal stages as well as the external stages. Okay, we haven't discussed about the external stages. We will discuss about external stages in some other video, because for that we need AWS S3 account as well. Now, so for that we will create a separate video. You will better understand that external stage. Okay, we have discussed about the internal stage. There are three types of internal stages: user stage, named stage, and the table stage. User and table stage are by default automatically created when user will create an account, and named stage is manually created by the any Snowflake user. Okay, so for loading the data into the Snowflake tables, first of all we have to create a stage, and after that we have to load the data from the local machine to the internal stage by using the put command, and after that we have to load that internal stage data, user stage, table stage, or named stage, whatever stage it is. After that we use the copy command to load the data into the Snowflake tables. Okay, so basically these are the 2-3 steps which you need to follow for loading the data into the Snowflake tables from the internal stages. Okay, so that's all about the internal stages theory video. After that we will discuss all these things. We will do lots of practicals, lots of loading in the practical, that how you will load the data, how you will use the put command, copy command, and all those things in the practical. So visit to the description box and watch that practical video for better understanding of the database loading data files, loading into the Snowflake from the internal stages. Okay, so that's all for today's session. Meet you soon in the next very interesting tutorial of the external stages loading from the AWS S3, and there we will see that how can we create the AWS S3 free trial account. Okay, and we will do the loading from the snowpipe external stages by using copy command, snowpipe, as well as lots of practicals we will do in the future videos. Okay, so stay tuned to this Sky Coding and subscribe to the Sky Coding for better understanding of the Snowflake series. Okay, so it's compulsory, it's very important to watch the practical video part 2 of this internal stages data loading. Okay, so please watch that video also for a practical video. Okay, for practical understanding, because practical understanding is very important. Okay, so bye guys, take care of yourself, and thank you for watching this video. Meet you soon in the next very interesting tutorial.